Racist MAGA podcaster Steve Bannon cannot wait to escalate the rift between MAGA and Elon Musk.
And it's unfortunate that things have escalated the way that they have escalated, but we'll see. Hopefully I'm reinstated and hopefully I'm remonetized.
I think escalation's good. We get down to it. Remember, they're the ones backpedaling. And like I said, when an enemy's in retreat, fix bayonets and pursue. Laura, where do we go to get you on?
When I say it's unfortunate that things have escalated, it's unfortunate that the MAGA base has had to sustain abuse from the richest man in the world, being called retards and saying, F you in the face. Okay, so I just think that I think it's time.
Why? But no, hey, hold it. We're tough. We're battle hardened over a decade of fighting. People are very, very. Hey, that's nothing.
Let them fight. Let them fight. Yes, it is funny to watch some of them figure out something that I've been saying for a long time. Billionaires are not actually your friends. Who knew? Oh, right. The left. The left knew. I know. Some of you in MAGA are actually starting to figure it out. When you're all like, George Soros. We're also like, you know what? You might have a point. Maybe George Soros shouldn't be allowed to give tons and tons of money in our elections, along with the Koch brothers, along with Elon Musk, along with any billionaire or any multi-millionaire. We shouldn't have private financing of elections. We should have public financing of elections, because otherwise you get in a situation where rich people buy off your politicians and then they work for those rich people. I know, crazy idea from these leftist, socialist, communists, and all that stuff. Okay?
Pink-haired communists.
Maybe they were onto something. Maybe we're onto something. I don't know. You guys are just figuring it out. To be fair, though, Steve Bannon, I don't agree with a lot of things that Steve Bannon says, but he's like, we should tax the rich. Broken clocks, everybody. Broken clocks. And there's a lot of broken clocks today. All right? A lot of broken clocks. Now, that said, Bannon, getting back to him, he said, if your enemy is in retreat, fix bayonets. Wait, who's the enemy here? A South African immigrant billionaire and the richest man in the world. Yes, they're so close. They're so close. But of course, as always, they're so far. Okay, they're so close, but so far away. All right, because at the end of the day, their entire argument that they're having with Musk is based on like racist stuff. So, sad.
The Republican Party's racist.
At the end of the day. Look, the only reason that they're angry at Elon Musk, remember, is because he wants more immigration. But the reason that Musk wants more immigration is not because, immigrants, they bring a lot of stuff into the United States, a lot of positive things. Like, that's what the left believes, okay? Because it's true. Immigration actually does help. More diversity is good for a country. I know, crazy, right? Just whole leftist ideals, right? So insane. But no, Musk wants to bring more people into the country, not because of anything good, but because he can exploit them. Okay, he can exploit the workers. He can control their lives. He can underpay them, which, by the way, he would do to American workers if he could. Yeah. Roll back all the labor rights that were won in the 20th century. Roll back all of those, all the labor protections, all labor regulations, and make it so that, yes, we would be able to be controlled, get put in company towns and exploited again. Then, of course, that Elon Musk would be like, oh, yeah, hell yeah, I'll hire Americans. Sure, great. But we know the real reason, okay? This entire fight, at the end of the day, is just all about what kind of racism the Republican Party wants to do, okay? Whether it be the tech pro racism of, let's take this, this minority group of people, migrants, immigrants, and exploit the hell out of them for our own profit, for our own gain, and then send them back to their country. Isn't that great? Wow. Still racist. All right. But then you have the Steve Bannon, Laura Loomer type of racism that just sees people as like subhuman. Okay. So Which way, Western man? Which kind of racism do you want to have? Oh, how about none? How about none? That would be great. Now, moving on, I want to go to what he talked about being battle hardened. Oh, we've been fighting for a decade, and you know we're battle hardened here, MAGA. You do whatever, you say whatever you want. Look, maybe for this guy, okay, for Bannon, he doesn't care about Elon Musk's insults. Well, it's because Elon Musk sounds like a 12-year-old. Caecius Maximus. What are you, 14? On Reddit? What's wrong with you? I should say what isn't wrong with you. But look, it is funny, though. When you look at Steve Bannon, you see a guy that looks like he's not only fallen off the wagon, but has, was dragged behind the wagon for several miles. I guess it makes sense that you're not going to really be bothered by Elon Musk and his childish insults. All right. Just saying. That said, I'm shocked that Bannon doesn't actually know that there is actually a sizable chunk of MAGA people that are snowflakes that get very, very bothered. I know that aren't exactly as tough as Bannon, thinks that they are. They cry constantly about DEI, the critical race theory. They get mad and horny at the same time when they see a trans person literally just existing. Okay, so I wouldn't really call them all battle hardened. If any group in American politics today fits that bill, it's the left. And I'm not talking about liberals. Okay, no. I'm talking about leftist anti-capitalists. Okay, hardcore. You want to talk about a group that is battle hardened, that fights everyone. No one gets attacked more than the far left. Okay, I know, because I am the far left. They get attacked by the right wing, by the liberals, by the left, the establishment, and of course, most famously, by each other. There's no in-group that has more infighting than leftist anti-capitalists. Okay, and so we want to talk battle hardened. Oh yeah, battle hardened, and yet that left wing has been right about H-1Bs the entire time. Capitalists love the H-1B program because it allows them to exploit people. That's why, again, we are against it. We're against the exploitation, and we're against what happens as a result of that exploitation, which is, of course, the driving down of wages, the elimination of benefits, the fact that you have so many talented people here in America who can do these jobs, right? These high-tech jobs, these engineering jobs, and yet they are saddled with tens of thousands of dollars in student loan debt. They would get into this, field, but you've got all that debt, so obviously they're going to demand higher salaries, and these CEOs don't want to pay them. And so that's one of the big problems, okay? And not only that, but you also want a work-life balance, okay? But these CEOs, they want people to be chained to the company 24/7, 90-hour weeks. Just insanity, all right? Just grind. No, I actually want to live my life. I actually want to have a life outside of work. Like, are you insane? You want to spend all your time at work grinding for some capitalist to come and take most of your labor? Most of the results? No, nobody wants to do that. All right. So that's why they love it. And that's why the left hates it. All right. And now racists, of course, are only against the H-1B because brown people bad or something. And so that's the explanation here. This is the battle that is going on in this country, mainly in the Republican Party. But of course, everybody, since the right wing is kind of turning in on itself right now, everybody's got to weigh in. All right. Now, Donald Trump, he also weighed in. He took Elon Musk's side, which is not surprising, right? Because he's always going to take the side of the business owner who likes exploiting labor, because that's what he is and that's what he does. All right. Now, that said, Trump, a lot of people were surprised, going, wait a minute, didn't he curtail the H-1B program when he was president before? Why wouldn't he want to get rid of it? Well, here's the thing, right? Trump is an old school racist. He's old school because he's ignorant and refuses to learn anything, right? But at the end of the day, his primary concern is always going to be, how do I make more money for myself? He's not a racist ideologue. He is not like Steve Bannon. He is not like Ann Coulter or Laura Loomer. He's not like any of these ghouls. He's his own type of ghoul. He uses racism to help him make money, underpays black people, denies them, the chance to live in his hotels, or, his all that stuff, right? Or his condos, all that stuff, right? But at the end of the day, he's not really wedded to any ideology other than whatever helps Donald Trump. So this fight in the Republicans' party between Musk, Trump, and the racist right, I don't think it's going to end anytime soon, okay? And it's because Donald Trump, like I said, doesn't really have any core ideology, so he's going to go with whatever helps him most, much to the chagrin of people who actually are ideologues. Now, that said, over the next 4 years, I think it's probably going to, these fights are going to pop up again whenever you have an issue of labor, because there is a section of MAGA that is actually like, hey, let's hire American, let's buy American. I thought this whole thing was supposed to be America first and not other countries first. And what are these, corporations, you can call them woke corporations or what, I don't give a damn, right? You fake woke corporations actually, but oh my God, what are these CEOs doing? What are they doing? They're hurting the American worker. Yeah, well, we know because they've been doing it all along, and they've been distracting you with racist wedge issues as well as issues related to like trans people and stuff to distract you from the fact that they are robbing the American worker, robbing the American taxpayer, and doing everything they can to destroy the American labor movement, which actually is responsible for giving us so many of the rights that these capitalists are now using foreign labor to try to do an end run around. So that's the reality, okay? Whenever you have this issue of labor exploitation, visa programs, immigration, whatever, just remember that those through lines exist. They're there, and they're actually quite important when you look at what's really happening. And of course, at the end of the day, the result, of what these CEOs are doing is hurting the American people and exploiting foreign labor for their own gains. President-elect Donald Trump was recently fact-checked by none other than Fox News. Now, this is after he falsely blamed the New Year's Eve attack in New Orleans on immigrants. On 3 a.m. Wednesday morning, a truck, allegedly driven by a U.S. military veteran, Shamsu Dinjaba, intentionally slammed into a group of people celebrating New Year's Eve in the city's French Quarter. So far, 14 people confirmed dead, dozens wounded, over 30 in this really horrific attack, which ended with a deadly shootout with police. So even before the authorities identified this alleged killer, Donald Trump decided he was going to put out a statement blaming immigrants. He said, when I said that the criminals coming in are far worse than the criminals we have in our country, that statement was constantly refuted by Democrats and the fake news media, but it turned out to be true. No, it didn't. No, it didn't. The crime rate in our country is at a level that nobody has ever seen before. That's also not true. Also not true. Our hearts are with all the innocent victims and their loved ones, including the brave officers of the New Orleans Police Department. The Trump administration will fully support the city of New Orleans as they investigate and recover from this act of pure evil. Okay, so look, that statement was just chock full of falsehoods. So much so that you had a Fox reporter that was forced to fact check him on the air.
Now, the former president said criminals coming in a statement, meaning into our country. But to be clear, Molly and Brian, the suspect was born in the United States. He served in the United States Army. He was a veteran. The FBI is the lead agency in this investigation, going through the social media and any other accounts associated with the suspect.
So, U.S. born, ex-military, now allegedly radicalized by ISIS. That's what we know. An army spokesperson confirmed to ABC News that Jabbar had served in the military in human resources and information technology roles from 2007 to 2015, during which he had deployed to Afghanistan from February 2009 to January 2010. So he continued as an IT specialist in the Army Reserve from 2015 to 2020. His listed jobs were not direct combat roles. Jabbar was honorably discharged from the Army after he was caught drunk driving on base, according to the Washington Post. He was charged in February of 2015 and pleaded guilty. The suspect had earlier enlisted in the Navy in August 2024, though he never went to boot camp and was discharged from the delayed entry program a month later, according to a Navy spokesperson. Public records suggested he was involved in consulting and real estate. Court records also indicate that he was divorced and making somewhere around $120,000 a year. I don't know if that really matters, but apparently he had some debts, claiming in an email that he owed over $27,000 in late home payments and was at risk of foreclosure. Apparently he needed to hire a lawyer and pay living expenses, and said that he had taken on $16,000 in credit card debt. Whatever that has to do with him being inspired by ISIS to like go and attack a bunch of innocent people and then die in a suicide by cop, I have no idea. But here we are. We have another person radicalized by religious fundamentalism and possibly even divorce, but not an immigrant. I mean, what I do know is that he is not a migrant. He is a homegrown terrorist from the great state of Texas. Okay, that's it. I mean, I don't know. Maybe there's something wrong with Texas. I don't know. I'm pretty sure I've got viewers from Texas that might be offended, and I don't mean to offend you or anything like that, saying that there might be something wrong with Texas. But when you look at the policies going on there, it's starting to, in some ways, resemble ISIS in Texas. Just saying. I mean, you look at their anti-abortion laws, you look at their religious fundamentalism. I'm just saying there may be some, similarities. All right. Now, that said, here's the thing: the right wing and Donald Trump immediately jump into the wrong conclusions every single time. Every single time something like this happens. Why? It's because they're not interested in facts. Okay? And we know this. And he knows this. He knows it's not an immigrant. Okay? This is all marketing. All right? Even though Donald Trump won this election already, all right, he's still going to do the marketing because that's all he knows. And I wish that saying that, oh man, I wish he would stop and at least admit the truth, and because it's going to harm people. I wish saying that would make him stop, but it's not going to. Okay, it's not going to. And the only thing that we can do is, ironically, what this Fox News reporter is doing, which is reporting the reality. All right, trying to debunk all the BS around this. And by the way, that's Justice Correspondent David Spunt, who did his job. He actually did his job by reporting facts. Yeah, and pushing back against the president-elect. Now, this should not be a surprise. This should be what, hey, isn't this what reporters are supposed to do? They're supposed to report the truth. But remember, we are living in a post-truth world now. So, I don't know. Actually doing what he's supposed to do as a reporter might actually get him in trouble. I wouldn't be surprised, because there is no greater enemy to the truth now than this upcoming Trump administration. I mean, it's just so painfully obvious that they have no grounds in reality, no interest in reality whatsoever, if it doesn't fit their narrative. So either it's like whenever there's a mass shooting or some sort of terrorist attack, it must be either a trans person or an immigrant. That's what the right wing thinks now. anytime it happens. And of course, it always gets proven that no, that's not what happened. It's usually an American-born white cis man. Now, in this case, it's not a white cis man, but it's definitely a cis man who is, an American who was born here, who served in our military. I don't know. And again, on that, serving in the military, I mean, there's been a lot of warnings that, hey, there's a lot of, a lot of extremists that are ending up in our armed forces, that are signing up. Now, normally it's white supremacists, but in this case, somebody who is inspired by religious fundamentalists over in ISIS. So I don't know. There seems to be a problem that you have people going into the military, getting trained, to do deadly things, obviously, and then using those skills to harm people. But I don't think that's the case here. I think the case here is that something radicalized him, something set him off. And so I don't know. We're going to have to see. But that said, when it comes to the reporting on this, when it comes to the upcoming administration, we're not going to get any of the truth from that. And if you're concerned about the ramifications that this country and our people, will see as a result of this, if you're worried, you should be. And if you're not, you still should be. TV's Dr. Oz, Donald Trump's nominee to be the next head of Medicare and Medicaid, once said that people who do not have private insurance have no right to health.
When you go home today, what should you do? I think you ought to think about 15-minute physicals. Your local hospitals will fund these. They're incredibly inexpensive to run. You can screen thousands of people for almost nothing, and you allow a conversation to take place in more of a festival-like setting. It's not scary. And I mentioned earlier that almost everybody who comes to our 15-minute physicals has a job, but a lot don't have insurance. Give them a way of crawling back out of the abyss of darkness, of fear over not having the health they need, and give them an opportunity, because they don't have the right to health, but they have the right to access, to a chance to get that health.
Yes, these festival-like atmospheres, yes, because everyone, can be treated by going to a 15-minute physical between skee ball and bumper cars. Oh, you know what? For some reason, festival turned into carnival in my brain. Maybe because we're talking about Dr. Oz and the fact that he's a carnival barker. I don't know, but you get my point. And so, wait, hold on. You saying hospitals would fund these 15-minute physicals? Where are they getting that money? And once you get your 15-minute physical, what then? You still don't have insurance. You still can't afford to get actual care. This whole idea is half-baked. Okay, which isn't a shocker considering that this is a guy who was a celebrity talk show host, thanks Oprah, for many, many years, who was able to hawk many dubious miracle cures. Yes. Now, here's the thing though, okay? If you were talking about preventative health care being cheaper, right, then along with it being more beneficial to the patient, I think there's a lot of research that backs that up. So it's actually a great idea to have people go and be able to get their health checked out, all right, every year or, maybe a couple of times a year, depending on how old you are, things like that. Okay, it'd be a great idea. Wow, yes, get these diseases before they start to get, or these conditions before they start to get bad. I mean, imagine, seeing somebody who's pre-diabetic and being able to stop them from going into full-blown diabetes. I mean, that would be fantastic, right? Awesome. Why doesn't that happen? Why don't we do that? Well, because of health insurance, mainly. It costs too much to go and see a doctor, all right? Even when you have insurance, you are disincentivized to use it because of how much it costs. You got the copays, you got the deductibles, right? You got all these costs there, right? And so that's why people don't use their insurance unless they're really sick, all right? It just costs too much. It costs too much. Medicare, on the other hand, really doesn't. Medicare is a great program. Now, it's not free. I mean, there is a premium, okay? usually taken out of your Social Security payments if you're disabled, things like that. But generally, it's pretty inexpensive, about $174 a month on average. As far as the deductible, a $240 yearly deductible, yearly, as opposed to $2,400. Sorry, 24,000. Yeah, maybe on some of those plans, over in the ACA marketplaces, you got 24,000, 15,000, just insane amounts of deductible for a lower premium, but nothing matches the premiums and deductibles that you pay on Medicare. That's what Medicare is a really good program, and the reason that it is and that it can cost so little is because of that. It's lacking that administrative bloat, that profit motive. You got like a 20% copay on the services that you get. Fairly straightforward. It costs way less than private insurance, which is why it's extremely popular among the people who have it. But Dr. Oz doesn't want everybody to have it. In fact, he don't want nobody to have it. He says, why don't we just privatize the thing and put everyone on Medicare Advantage plans, okay, who is currently on traditional Medicare. And then for everyone else, hey, why don't we throw you some festivals so you can, maybe get access to care. Right, yes, those 15-minute physicals are a great way. They're great for the uninsured, because they don't deserve health care. So they can at least know, though, what they're dying from. Great. Yeah, lovely. Love it. And by the way, all the others who can't afford, who have insurance but actually can't afford to use it for anything, well, I guess they can die too. Okay, because that's ultimately what's going to happen. It's what happened before there was Medicare. It happened before Medicaid. It happened before the ACA. Poor people died from lack of health care, and they still do die. 68,000 people a year die from lack of health care in this country because we do not guarantee, like a civilized society, health care to everyone. Okay, we're uncivil. We're barbarians over here. Okay, the solution is simple: to do what every other industrialized nation has already done: expand guaranteed health care to everyone. In this case, Medicare. Expand Medicare coverage to everyone. Expand the benefits that people get. Get rid of for-profit insurance, all the private crap. All right, that's just benefiting people like the late Brian Thompson. Okay, that money just going into their pocket instead of going into healthcare for you. Okay, look, the thing is, the solution is simple. But people don't want the simple solution. Why? Because people like these health insurance CEOs and the politicians that they have bought and the media figures that they have bought make too much money playing the middleman, these insurance companies. All right? Every time they deny care for someone, they make money. I wonder where the incentives are. Not in providing healthcare, because they don't actually provide healthcare. They just provide health insurance. Okay. It's almost like our private system is just one gigantic death panel. And Oz, he wants to be, well, he's going to be in charge of it if he gets, his nomination approved by the Senate. He's on board with this privatization, okay? And the reason why is because he's taking money from these health insurance companies. That's why, okay? Look, he's taken about, what, $500,000? No, I'm sorry, he owns more than $550,000 in United Health stock. That's according to his 2022 financial disclosures. United Health is a Medicare Advantage plan, right? They administer a lot of these Medicare Advantage plans, which is just privatized Medicare. That's it. It's privatized insurance for seniors. And so United Healthcare Medicare Advantage plans, same ones that, you know, denied about 90% of their claims based on a so-called faulty AI model run by United Healthcare. Yeah, that made them a lot of money. Okay. Now, private insurance does not save money. Private insurance wastes money. According to reports, private insurers that run Medicare Advantage, like United Health, have been caught drastically overcharging for care. That company is currently under an antitrust investigation by the Department of Justice for its role in aggressively upcoding Medicare Advantage enrollees to secure higher payments from CMS. So yeah, they're wasting money. They've also been sued on multiple occasions for doing Medicare fraud. And yet, because Dr. Oz has so many investments in it, he's in favor of just taking Medicare and handing it over to United Health. Under Dr. Oz's plan, United Health's revenue from Medicare Advantage would nearly double to $274 billion a year. A year. That would benefit him to a great amount. So there is a gigantic conflict of interest here. And yet he is just a few Senate votes away from actually being confirmed. I mean, look, here's what I think. If you're on Medicare right now and you voted for Trump, you should feel like an idiot for supporting him. But what are you talking about, Jeff? He said he wasn't going to touch it. He wasn't going to touch it. He doesn't have to. He doesn't have to for it to go away. Okay? He can just appoint the guy, which he did, who's going to obliterate the program. So in that way, he can lie, but also say, oh, what are you talking about? I didn't do anything to Medicare. But his crony did. He absolutely knows what this guy is all about. Because he lied to you. He lied to you. Okay? So I think I just have to say, you know, if he's successful, congratulations, Trump supporters. You played yourself. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.